Welcome back to the news at 10. The Nigerian Air Force says it's destroyed 2 additional illegal barges laden with stolen petroleum products in the Niger Delta. According to a statement by its spokesman, Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, the barges were set ablaze by NAF helicopter around the Yellow Island area of Rivers State. The statement further says that the latest operations, coming after a series of similar raids in the region in the last 2 weeks, are clear pointers to the fact that it is no longer profitable to steal crude oil in Nigeria, and increasingly difficult for anybody or group of persons to divert the nation's collective wealth. Let's take a look at some business news for the day. Here's Melinda Akinlami.
You first. First Bank.
Thank you so much, Ijoma. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's Financial Reporting Council has issued the new National Code of Governance effective Monday, October the 17th. And this is coming after a Federal High Court sitting in Lagos dismissed a suit instituted in May 2015 against setting up the new code. In a statement released today, the Financial Reporting Council said the Code of Corporate Governance for the private sector is compulsory, while for the public sector, the third part will not be done immediately until a directive is secured from the federal government. Access Bank Ghana, a subsidiary of Access Bank of Nigeria PLC, will begin an initial public offering of shares on Wednesday, October the 19th. And the private lender plans to raise funds to expand its operations in West Africa's second largest economy. Access Bank of Ghana wants to raise a minimum of 104 million cedis per unit. The shares will trade on the Ghanaian Stock Exchange after the IPO closes on November the 11th. And this will be the first initial public offering to be conducted by any Nigerian-owned commercial bank on any sub-Saharan African capital market. Commercial banks in the country have suspended the use of debit cards for overseas transactions and online transactions priced in foreign currency. In a message to bank customers over the weekend, lenders say the decision follows the current volatility in the foreign exchange market. The decision is coming a week after the CBN Bankers Committee raised concerns over the manner some customers violate the $50,000 annual limit for forex transactions. The bears returned to the local equities market as main indicators opened the week lower by 81 basis points following sell-offs across major counters. For more on today's trading numbers, here's Millicent Walker.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The key equities indicator of the Nigerian stock market opened the week today on a bearish note, down by 0.81% on declines by big cap stocks in the industrial and consumer goods sectors. Market sentiment was largely negative, with 24 losers against 7 gainers. Nigerian Aviation Handling Company was the most significant loser with a 7.5% fall, followed by Forte Oil and Cadbury, while Wema Bank, WAPIC and FCMB were the top 3 gainers. Transactions were moderate, with a total turnover of 25.80 million shares worth over 778.43 million naira in 2,588 deals. Small cap insurer Law Union and Rock emerged as the most active, followed by Transcorp and Castaigne. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Millicent Walker.
Most of the major world markets are looking down on Monday as investors remain cautious ahead of the European Central Bank meeting, fresh earning results and falling oil prices. And with those closing global figures, we wrap up business news. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Melinda. The former coordinator of the National Poverty Eradication Program, Mr. Magnus Bakol, says the lack of political will to develop the manufacturing sector of the economy is the reason why Nigeria is in recession. Now, he made these remarks at a conference on the role of monetary policy and job creation organized by Economics and Business Strategies Limited in Abuja. According to him, the low supply of foreign exchange and high inflation rate in Nigeria is caused by the lack of ability to produce for export.
It is one of the series of lectures on how to drive the economy organized by the Economics and Business Strategies Limited in Abuja. The theme of the lecture is the role of monetary policy in job creation. The host, Mr. Magnus Bakol, states that the lack of political will to develop the manufacturing sector is the reason for the recession.
It is not the fault of the central bank that we don't have enough dollars. We believe that when we strengthen individuals and we strengthen our communities, that we will then develop the ability to process the commodities, the products, the natural resources that God has given to us. And we then will be competitive.
Other discussants emphasize the need to improve on agriculture and manufacturing.
We need to begin to produce as an economy. That's a real challenge. We don't produce enough of what others want. And we want to consume so much of what others produce.
We have tended to neglect the real sector: agriculture, manufacturing, industry. And this is really the areas that create most of the jobs.
Meanwhile, the keynote speaker calls for the need to have a policy that encourages production, processing, and export of agricultural products.
If you want to create jobs, you can't just think about production. We have to also look at the opportunities for them to be able to process it into butter, sell it to cosmetic companies, package, market, and export it. So that's where you can see there's a lot more opportunities for the jobs than just at the production level.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's unemployment rate rose from 12.1% in the first quarter of 2016 to 13.3% at the end of the second quarter. Experts argue here that right economic policies that encourage private investment can turn the situation around.
If Nigeria's diversification policy must work, then the federal government will have to increase its budgetary allocation for agriculture from the current 1.2% to 10%. Now, these are the views of women involved in rural agriculture who are on a campaign on the streets of Makurdi, the Benue state capital. The women insist that Nigeria must invest in rural agriculture to reverse the over $30 billion annual food import costs.
Joining to celebrate the 2016 World Food Day, women from the rural communities across Benue State marched peacefully through streets of Makurdi, the state capital. They are worried about the high cost of food import into the country. After the walk through major parts of the city, the group settles at the IBB Square, where they exhibit local food produce to back up their claims that the nation's agriculture sector is viable.
We bring them together to tell the government and the people what they need, that they should be involved in government decision making, that we affect them so that they will be able to contribute their own quota.
At this forum, the question on how to engage government to increase funding for rural agriculture comes up for discussion.
You know that we are spending almost $30 billion every year just importing food alone. That amount of money, if used partially for the women who are actually doing the farming, will change the dynamics. We will bring down, it has a chance of bringing down poverty by 11 times.
The investment in agriculture, the budget allocations that is there, still remains at 1.2%. We know that Nigeria signed up to the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program framework, which recommends to all the African governments to bring up the investment in agriculture to about 10% of the national budget, but Nigeria is still lagging at 1.2%.
These women also agree that something needs to be done urgently to reduce the over $30 billion spent annually on food importation and prove to the world that the much talked about federal government agriculture revolution and diversification policies are not mere lip service.
Measures have been put in place to guard against abduction of students from their hostels in Abia State, and that's according to the Abia State Commissioner of Police, Oyebade Adeleye. He was speaking during the parade of suspected criminals at the police headquarters in Umahi at the state capital. Mr. Oyebade says the command is prepared to combat crime in the state.
In recent times, we have noticed that hoodlums now want to take our students unawares. So, as I speak with you, in a couple of days, we are going to meet with the leadership of the schools, the principals of the schools, with the officials of the Ministry of Education. We are arranging an outreach to dialogue with them and discuss at length issues relating to the security of our schools. I must tell you that policing our schools is very, very important, especially where you have our students staying in boarding houses. Some of these schools, we will have to advise them. We are going to collaborate with them. We are going to counsel them how we are going to upgrade the security network so that we will ensure that we prevent any incident that will lead to abduction of our students.
Next on the news at 10, Association of Tennis Professionals bans Australia's Nick Kyrgios for 8 weeks for misconduct at Shanghai Masters. And that's on sports. Please stay with us.